Time is 7:03, and you're listening to Talking To. And, we're hosted by Joanne Tosin Fuller and Justin Hearn. Joanne Tosin is out of town today. She possibly will be our roving reporter. I believe she's in Indianapolis, where Ricky Dillard is preparing for another concert. In case you don't know who Ricky Dillard is, he is a gospel artist, and he, I would say, has been in the gospel music game for at least 30 years. He has numerous recordings, and an interesting way that he sets up his choir when he goes to record in various cities. He has various city chapters. So if he chooses a particular city, the musicians that are contracted, they go teach the new music, and then he comes in and does the recording. So today they will be recording in Indianapolis, and I know the church is probably packed, and hopefully, Joanne said it's supposed to start at 6:30, but it might not because there's a notorious history of him not being on time. I'm sure Dr. Eloquent Weaver is probably there somewhere, ready and waiting to see his good friend Ricky Dillard. Once again, share and like the Talking To show and tell people about it, especially if you enjoy it. Spread the news. Spread the news. Listen, a lot of things that were going on today. This weekend in the city of Detroit, the Grand Prix is on the Belle Isle today, 2026 Grand Prix that's being sponsored by Lear. I mean, everybody in that area, I am sure they're ready for the race to be over. I don't know if you've ever attended the Grand Prix, but I've had a couple of times opportunities when they were on the streets of the city of Detroit. On one time on Belle Isle as well, but it's just so exciting to hear the roar of a race car. We hear people racing in the city of Detroit or wherever you may live and reside. You Some people soup up cars, and you think that's powerful. To a certain degree, it is, but it's not like a race car. When that engine is revving and those tires are screeching, and then the race begins, and you especially when you're there viewing it in person, because you're on the stands and you're just watching them go around the track at an unbelievable amount of speed, and the adrenaline, and of course all of the great tents that are set up by the sponsors. That was my most favorite part, going in and out of the sponsors tents. But it's a great experience. Now it can be an inconvenience for neighbors in the area. That was one of the reasons why they moved it from Jefferson Street onto Belle Isle for noise reduction and trying to appease the neighborhood. And even though it's still on the island, it still can be heard. Another a great thing that's going on in the city of Detroit is the plans and the expansion plans of the Motown Museum, which is located on West Grand Boulevard and Rosa Parks. If you've never had an opportunity to go there, it's very interesting. You will be delighted and enchanted, and by learning of all of the rich history of Motown. They recently, I would say in the last 10 years, they did a mini expansion and renovations there. So it should be very interesting to see what they will do now. I don't know if they've purchased more homes on the side of the museum, or if they're building onto it. Maybe I'll have to drive around there and take a look for myself and come back and let you know what's going on. Speaking about driving, today I took a drive around in the Detroit city and into Dearborn. And what I did, I just stayed on the surface street, and I was coming from Dearborn going east. So I had an opportunity to look and gaze and see people and see living conditions and seeing behaviors. And I was very shocked that on a beautiful day such as today, as warm as it is, there was a lot of order. I saw people outside in their yards raking, mowing, trimming hedges, keeping their area beautiful, taking pride in where they live, taking pride in their surrounding areas. I saw one gentleman and I had to stop and I said to him, he was mowing the lawn with a push mower, the kind that just have the exposed blade. You stand behind it and you just push. And I stopped and I said, that's the best kind. I don't know how that mower was designed, but it got the grass. I think it was only on one level, but it made the grass look so good. And just to see, especially if you could cut it straight, how the rows in perfect order. But I saw a lot of that. I saw a lot of the flowers being planted. These are social skills that you learn usually from your family or from the area or from people that you're being reared, keeping your area nice. Detroit used to have a saying long time ago under the leadership of Mayor Coleman Alexander Young: keep Detroit beautiful. Keep Detroit beautiful. And it was a great campaign. I don't know if Mr. Bob Berg was behind that particular campaign, but it was a great campaign. And of course, it was during a time where people were employed and they were working and they were bringing in money and they're living their lives as best as they ever had. And to have a campaign to come out called Keep Detroit Beautiful, it just did something for residents in the city. They adopted and adapted to the consciousness of keeping Detroit beautiful. And they understood where to start to keep Detroit beautiful. Right at your front door. Keep your area clean. Of course, everyone doesn't have a 5-bedroom home, and everyone doesn't even have a home. You may not be a homeowner, but wherever you are, take pride in where you are. It takes nothing away from anyone to go outside and sweep. Sweep at the curb. Sweep on your pathway. Pick up the paper on your grass, in your driveway, in your area. And if you start, maybe the neighbor will start. There's a gentleman that lives on my block who is notorious for having a beautiful lawn. And he gets out daily doing something at his yard. If it's sweeping, if it's clipping, if it's cutting, if it's edging, if it's raking, something is going on. And it had a rippling effect in this particular block. Someone else saw him out. They started. And then someone even employed him to come and do their yard. And then someone else said, well, can you come and do my yard? So this entire, when I was speaking to him, I said, you have the entire block beautiful. And he said, there's just one house left that he needs to get to. and everything will be in order. But this particular gentleman takes pride not only where he lives, in his area. And we had enough sense to get on the bandwagon and want to have a very good place, an area and surrounding that is beautiful, that you love coming home to. It makes a difference when your area is nice, when your grass is manicured, when those bushes are nice. So when you come home, you say, wow, this looks great. I love it. So, if you had never considered it, consider it. Keep your area, keep your part. It doesn't matter what city you live, wherever you are, keep your area beautiful. I'd like to say congratulations to Pastor Pamela Johnson of Greater New Light Missionary Baptist Church that's located in Detroit on Evergreen and Linden. She and members of the Detroit campus went on a visit to Cleveland today. And there is a Cleveland chapter of Greater New Light, and they welcomed Detroit there. And I was able to see a little snippet of the service, and it was nice to see and just to know what is behind all of what we see, and watching the growth of not only of the church but for the pastor, and it's just beautiful, literally beautiful. 7:15 in the Eastern Standard Time, 77 degrees and sunny on both sides of the street in Detroit. Joanne is in Indiana. Justin is probably on Belle Isle, serving, making sure that the peace is being kept there while the Grand Prix is going on. Today, we wanted to talk for a moment about this little book that I have. I don't know, can you see it? Creative Mind and Success. Creative Mind and Success by Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes is the author of The Science of Mind, Creative Mind. A great, great author. Very popular back in the 50s. In fact, the foreword for this particular book was written in 1957. And this is a reprint because it originally was in 1919. So if you ever get a chance to look up Ernest Holmes, you'll be able to learn a lot about him. But I was reading this today, and this kind of scanning through the book, and I saw the particular chapter that talks about don't be a leaner. And I wondered, well, what is a leaner? Don't be a leaner. I had something in mind of what it was, but we're going to talk about it. Don't be a leaner. Never lean on other people. That's the first sentence of the chapter. Never lean on other people. You have strength of your own that is great enough to do all that is necessary. We'll stop right there. I'm going to repeat it. Never lean on other people. You have strength of your own that is great enough to do all that is necessary. Sometimes we lead lives where we hear and reinforce that you're not good enough, that you're not the right person, the right talent, you don't have the right education, and it can wear on your confidence, and it can in fact destroy your confidence. and get you a complex of who you are. And then you begin to doubt. And then you begin to make declarations, starting with two words: I can't. And then it feeds into your subconscious constantly. Every time you say, I can't, it's reaffirming, I can't. And then you begin to lean on other people. How do you lean on other people? Hmm. What do you think about me doing this? You begin to seek validation for other people, leaning on them for validation. Or you begin to lean on them to even give you direction. People do it with their children. I have seen instances where someone has leaned on someone else for advice on how to rear their children. And I'm thinking, have you seen what job they've done with their own? Boo, two thumbs down. But you're so perplexed in your mind that you don't even know that all you need is within. So never lean on other people. You have strength of your own that is great enough to do all that is necessary. It goes on to read that the Almighty has implanted genius within the soul of everyone. And what we need to do is to unearth that inner genius and cause it to shine forth. I repeat. What we need to do is to unearth that inner genius and cause it to shine through. We will never do this while we look to others for guidance. Didn't know that was the next line. We will never do this. What is this? Unearth the inner genius. We will never unearth the inner genius while we look to others for guidance. To thine own self repair, wait thou within the silence, dim, and thou shalt find him there. To thine own self repair, wait thou within the silence, dim, and thou shalt find him there. So that sounds poetic, but what it's actually saying, still yourself. Things are going awry and it's confusion and chaos and you're doubting yourself. You're doubting your existence. You're doubting that you are worth something. Still yourself. STILL. Quiet yourself. Separate yourself from the noise. Begin to develop a listening skill for the inner voice. I was talking to a fellowshipping with a friend yesterday, and we were talking about the television show MacGyver and how whatever situation MacGyver got into, MacGyver is a seasoned television series. And whatever MacGyver got into, it would be harrowing. It would seem that there would be no way out. It would seem like it was the end. It was over. Yeah. And what MacGyver would do would still himself and come to himself, go into his inner self, into his mind, and create a way out. So that's what this is saying that we need to do. To thine own self repair, Wait thou within the silence dim, and thou shalt find him there. Him, I'm sure they're referring to as the divine, or someone called the Holy Spirit, the infinite. All the power and intelligence of the universe is already within, waiting to be utilized. All the power and intelligence of the universe is already waiting to be utilized. You already have it. It's already there. It needs to be unleashed, or as the term is used in this book, unearthed. If you're just joining in, it's Talking To. I am Rufus Bill, and I am hosting today's program. Justin is away serving the community. Joanne is in Indianapolis waiting for the Ricky Dillard concert. It probably has started. We'll hear more from them when they return. And when I'm talking today, just sharing some information from the book, Creative Mind and Success by Ernest Holmes. Great author. He wrote The Science of Mind, Creative Mind. And I'm reading from the chapter of Don't Be a Leaner. Don't be a leaner. The time is 7:25 Eastern Standard Time, 77 degrees, still sunny and beautiful in the city of Detroit. The divine spark must be fanned into a blaze of the living fire of your own divinity. The divine spark must be fanned into a blaze of the living fire of your own divinity. This is written very poetic. So that one little, when you get ready to light the grill for holidays and for whenever you like to grill, and you put the fluid on the coals, and then you light the coals, and then after the coals burn down, you'll see them a spark here, a spark there, a spark here. This is what it's talking about. It's talking about the divine spark that's within yourself, that little spark, that little genius that you have, that little that one thing that might be buried deep within your heart or deep within your mind, that one little spark, you're supposed to fan it. And if you fan a spark, it'll light, and then more wind, it'll become on a blaze. That's what we're supposed to do when we're creating, when we're doubting ourselves. We have to go within for that little spark. The divine spark must be fanned into a blaze of the living fire of your own divinity. It has to connect. Self-reliance is the word to dwell on. Self-reliance. I see it every day in the education world, where so many parents are rearing their children to not be self-reliant. They're rearing their children to be dependent upon their parents or upon some other individual who is self-reliant. What is self-reliance? Self-reliance is not leaning on other people. Self-reliance is not blaming other people. Self-reliance is not making excuses. Self-reliance is being accountable for you. Listen to your own voice. It will speak in terms that are unmistakable. Driving down the road and you say, oh, I'm going to turn right. Let me turn this way. No, I'm going to go here first. And then when you make the decision to go to the left, you say, something told me to go right. Something told me to go right. Ernest Holmes says, listen to your own voice. It will speak in terms that are unmistakable. I can think of many times where I was given a direction and I ignored it. And then did something completely opposite. And it didn't work into my favor. Listen to your own voice. It will speak in terms that are unmistakable. Trust in your own self more than all else. We always get that phone out. Man, you free. Man, can I talk to you? I'm thinking about, what do you think about? Man, this is what I'm doing. I hope it works. What's your thoughts? Who cares? Why are you asking Joe Blow anything about something you can be doing? Leaning on someone else for guidance. Leaning on someone else for direction. Listen to your own voice. Trust in your own self more than all else. All great men and women have learned to do this. Let's put a pin in there. All great men and women have learned to trust their selves more than anyone else. Even if it's wrong, they trust their own selves. If it goes awry, it won't be because I was listening to my brother-in-law who drinks beer from the time he gets up till the time he goes to sleep. It's not my other friend who is leading a miserable life. As I was thinking and saying that, if that's your circle, no wonder you're confused. All great men and women learn to trust themselves. Every person within his own soul is in direct communication with the infinite, the divine, the Holy Spirit. When we depend on other people, we are simply taking their light and trying to light our path with it. Let me say it again. When we depend on other people, we are simply taking their light and trying to light our path with it. So we're bringing someone else on our path. I know the lighting is kind of different in here where I am. We're taking their energy, their thoughts, their existence, their being, bringing them from their path. Come over here to my path. And if they're in your path, to light your path, you would have to be behind them. If you go get the light, the energy, the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience, the opinion of someone else, bring them over to your path, they're leading you. Duh. When we depend on other people, we are simply taking their light and trying to light our path with it. I often joke and tease about the story in the Bible where it speaks about the five foolish virgins and the five wise virgins, and they were going to the wedding reception, and the five foolish virgins ran out of oil, but the five wise virgins had their own light. And the foolish ones asked the wise ones, share some of your oil, leaning. They said, hecky nah. And the bridegroom was coming. So the five foolish ones were at a crossroad. They tried to go get oil. No oil was for them. But the five wise ones were depending only on themselves. They were self-reliant. They had their stuff together and said, bye-bye, five girls. When we depend on other people, we are simply taking their light and trying to light our path with it. When we depend on ourselves, we are depending on that inner voice that is God, speaking in and through man. Man is the inlet and the outlet to all there is in God. God has made us and brought us up to where we recognize our own individuality. From now on, we will have to let him express through us. So, once we're connected and once we quiet the noise, once our attention is focused, then we can hear. Then we can create. Then we can build. Then we can expand. Then we can be elevated. God has made us and brought us up to where we recognize our own individuality. We all have various gifts and various elements that make us who we are. One person may be very good at creating floral arrangements and do a magnificent job. My buddy Jody, who has a florist in Ferndale, and he started downtown in a small little area. Then he went into a larger facility, and now he is in Ferndale, and he can create, he and his team, things that are unreal. But that's what he does. And if you may be a floral arranger, you have to do the very best to be creative for yourself. You can't compare your individuality with someone else. I can sing, but I wish I could sing like. I can speak, but I wish I could speak like. You can only be you. God has bade us and brought us up to where we recognize our own individuality, your strengths. From now on, we will have to let him express through us. If it were different, we would not be individuals. Behold, I stand at the door and wait. This is a statement of the near presence of power. But we, the individual, must open the door. We normally hear in the church, I stand at the door and knock. And if you open the door, I will come in and sup with you. You need the source for the spark to become a blaze. The door is our thought, and we are the guardian of it. And when we do open the door, we will find that the divine presence is right at hand, waiting. I received information Friday, and I realized that I had received wrong information prior to. And I said, I wanted to blame someone, and I couldn't blame anyone because it's dealing with me. So I need to always be clear and make sure that I'm tight. What did it say back here? Trust in your own self more than in all else. And the situation kept, going around in my head, and I was thinking one way, but something was saying to me, this could not be all. And when I went to do the research and when I made phone calls, everything was described one way, but it really wasn't. But I knew it wasn't right. Nonetheless, even at a frustrating moment such as that, I still had to still myself and to come up with a solution on how to rectify this certain situation. And I did, fortunately. We are strong with the strength of the infinite. We're strong when we're connected. We're strong when we're with the source. We are not weak. Stop listening to voices, outside voices. Stop listening to the inside voice within yourself that says you're weak, that says, no, you will never do that. You're 50 years old. The time has passed. You're 35, girl. You ain't gonna get no husband. You should have married Frank when he asked you when you were 25. Don't be weak. We are not weak. We're strong. We are great. We are one with the infinite mind. When you have a real thing to do, oh, I live by this. And when I picked up the book, I just looked through the chapters and I just read the first line. So I'm just hearing this as I'm telling it to you. When you have a real thing to do, when you are taking care of business, or as Martha Jean the Queen Steinberg would say, big business, when you have an idea, when you have a plan, when you're getting ready to execute, when you're getting ready to get married, when you're getting ready to go and finish your degree, when you get ready to go and purchase that house, that car, when you get ready to go and get your vacation home in the south of France, when you get ready to go and take that 2-week vacation in Paris, when you have a real thing to do, keep it to yourself. Close your mouth. We talk too much. You talk too much. Is that Houdini that sang the song, "You talk too much and you never shut up"? I always tell a friend of mine, I say, all I ever have to do is listen. I don't have to say anything, because eventually you're going to come back around to that subject. Maybe not today, maybe not in 2 days, maybe not even in a week. Maybe it's a month later and you revisit that topic. And I'll just bring up, I said, well, you said A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Talking too much. When you have a real thing to do, when you're planning that event, or you have a big life-altering change, when you have a real thing to do, when you're going through a healing process, when you're going through a grieving process, when you have a real thing to do, keep it to yourself. Don't talk about it. Just know in your own mind what it is, what you want, and keep still about it. And I guess it's just human nature that we always have to link up with someone. Now, if you're married, I can't give any advice. Do you keep it from your spouse? I would advise not to, because now you're forming trust issues. But this is mainly directed to going outside your sister-in-law, your best friend, Susie down the street, your old college roommate, Joe, who lives in Atlanta, your friend that moved across the country to LA, calling them. Let me run this by you. When you have a real thing to do, keep it to yourself. Don't talk about it. Just know in your own mind what it is that you want, and keep still about it. Often when we think that we will do some big thing, we begin to talk about it. And the first thing we know, all the power seems to be gone. I have a personal example scenario to share with you. When I decided to finish my education, I didn't talk about it. I mentioned this. I think I wrote a post about it or talked with a friend about it. I didn't say anything about it. I just went and did it. I didn't need, not that I had people that were going to try to talk me out of it, but just for my own sanity. Just, it was something that needed to be done. It was something that I knew I would do. And so it didn't have cause for conversation. I'm thinking about, what do you think about? If you were me, no. I connected with the source, and I presented my case and my argument, but I said, however you direct me, talking to the divine, to the infinite, to the Holy Spirit. However it is directed, however you direct me, this is what I'll do. And so I kept silent. I kept still. I went dim. I was quiet. And I got the answer. And that's how I proceeded. And I went through the rest of the journey, just doing it. I told, some people knew, but it wasn't a conversation that I had with everyone. I just love this. When you have a real thing to do, keep it to yourself. Don't talk about it. This is what happens. We all are sending out into mind a constant stream of thought. I repeat, we all are sending out into mind a constant stream of thought. A stream is constantly flowing. So we're always sending out into our mind some type of thought, some kind of processing. The clearer it is, the better will it manifest. Keeping away negativity, people that are not positive, people that are Susie Downers, Debbie Downers, people that are always questioning, why you do that? Who told you to do that? We all are sending out into mind a constant stream of thought. The clearer it is, the better will it manifest. If it becomes doubtful, it will not have so clear a manifestation. It'll be cloudy. It won't be clear like this water. It'll be cloudy. If it is confused, it will manifest only confusion. I know orally, you can only hear it once because sound only goes this way. So I'm going to repeat that. The clearer, we all are sending out into mind a constant stream of thought. The clearer it is, the better will it manifest. If it becomes doubtful, it will not have such a clear manifestation. If it is confused, it will manifest only confusion. There was a situation once with a group that I was playing for, and I was in charge of the music at this particular church. And there were some things that were said and some untruths that were spoken. And so everything was topsy-turvy. And so it came time for us to go out and to sing. And I gathered everyone together so that we could get on one like mind and cast out all that bull, that crap, that dong, so that we could keep our focus. If it is confused, it will manifest only confusion. All this is according to the law of cause and effect, and we cannot change the law. Too often, when we tell our friends what we are going to do, they confuse our thoughts by laughing about it. I'm starting a bakery business. Really? That's what you a bakery? Oh well, if you say so. Too often, when we tell our friends what we are going to do, they confuse our thoughts by laughing about it. Maybe I shouldn't bake, but my everyone loves my chocolate chip cookies. They tell me I'd buy these. Maybe I'm not a good baker. Too often, when we tell our friends what we are going to do, they confuse our thoughts by laughing about it or by doubting our capacity to do such a large thing. Of course, this would not happen if we were always positive. But when we become the least bit negative, it will react and we will lose that power of clearness, which is absolutely necessary to good creative work. I was preparing for a show, and it had been months of practice and preparation, the selection of songs, the musicians, the singers, and so now it's showtime. And 15, and I'm standing um, off stage, getting ready to go on stage, and someone walks up to me and says, um, "What time will your set be over?" And because at this point, I'm just, being still, reflecting on everything that I need to do, being confident that the delivery will be executed as it's planned. My music is in place, all of that. So, this is where I am. And then this nutcase comes and asks me, passes everyone else who really could have answered the question. And I just said, when it's over, you haven't seen the timeline of how long my set is. And I took it as an interference of what I was going to do, causing confusion, trying to trip me up, get me off my square. Let me tell you, to be honest with you, I was so ticked. If I had had a spray bottle of water, I would have doused her. But in the good Rufus fashion, I did send a letter. And yeah, but nonetheless, I'm ready to go deliver. I had to remain positive. I couldn't let what she was saying to me have a negative response. When you want to do a big thing, get the mental pattern. The Home of Love teaches, that's a spiritual center here in the city of Detroit. The pastor is Fisherman Earl Doc Savage, and they teach in their teachings, right thinking, right speaking, right action. They understand the philosophy of it begins in the mind. When you want to do a big thing, get the mental pattern. What is the mental pattern? Make it perfect. Know just what it means. Enlarge your thoughts. Reverend Ike, people would laugh at him. Oh, but he would always talk about your mind. Catherine Kuhlman, your mind. The Crystal Cathedral, Robert Schuller, the mind. Dr. Beverly King out of Atlanta, the mind. Martha Jean the Queen, Steinberg, the mind. Marianne, what was Marianne's last name? It escapes me. The mind. Les Brown, the mind. The minister there at Unity Temple. She served there for many years, and even now the person who is currently there. They're working with the mind. Get the mental pattern. When you want to do a big thing, get the mental pattern. Make it perfect. Know just what it means. Enlarge your thought. Keep it to yourself. Pass it over to the creative power behind all things. Wait and listen. And when the impression comes, follow it with assurance. Don't doubt it. Don't question it. Move ahead. Don't talk to anyone about it. Never listen to negative talk. There's one person that I know. If I see her coming, I'm ducking and dodging. I used to ask the question, "How are you?" I stopped that. If the person says, "Rufus," I get speed. I start speed walking. Hey, negative Nelly. That's what I call her. Don't talk to anyone about it. Never listen to negative talk or pay any attention to it. And you will succeed when all others fail. The title of this chapter, Don't Be a Leaner. Don't be a leaner. Be self-reliant. Trust your gut. Stop flapping off at the lips. Zip those lips. Zip. Sit your tail down somewhere. Get still. Listen for the direction. Don't call Fluky Joe, asking her, what should I do? You have everything you need. The Almighty has implanted genius within the soul of you. And what you need to do is to unearth your inner genius. I am Rufus Bill. This has been Talking To. I was reading from the book Creative Mind and Success by Ernest Holmes. I hope you have a great week. I hope something is said that will stick to you. If nothing more than keep your damn mouth closed. When you get that idea, shut up. That's what I tell my students. Shut your mouth. Have a great one. Thank you so much for allowing me to come in to wherever you are to just share some information with you. This is the same information that I use, and it helps me tremendously. Even reading that today has inspired me to be the very best. Have a great one.